What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Yes, I said Monday. I didn't say it wrong. Happy Monday, everybody. We are back. We are back. We are back with another Can We Talk Executive Conversations. And I'm Lawrence Henderson of Boss LLC. And I'm here with the hostess with the mostest, Miss Tamiko Drummond. What's up, Tamiko?
Hello, Lawrence. What is up? I'm always super excited. Guess what? It is Tamiko Drummond, CEO of Lotus Consulting and Marketing. Whoo, we have this awesome lady in the building, Lawrence. I can't contain myself because if people do not know Melissa Collier, they're gonna find out today and they need to connect with her, right? Right?
Oh my gosh. I tell
Oh,
you what, this is our sister from another mister. As you see, dusting the shoulders off because this conversation is about to get good. Because
it's
today, Tamiko it's a great topic that all of us can resonate with, and it's can we talk about these mid-career freezes and how to avoid being stuck. And I know you got some things to talk about, Melissa, before we get rolling,
let
Tamiko.
me I can't, I'm not even gonna read all of this because her bio is huge, right? And she's so inspiring. She inspires me. But Melissa is a business transformational leader who is passionate about building people, their skills, their confidence, their professional presence. Over the past 25 years, guess what? Melissa's own career has led her from corporate trainer to learning leader and to her current role of Change Leadership Director at Georgia Pacific. Guess what? Who is here? Welcome, 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 Melissa Collier. Please let the people know who you are because I don't know if I did it justice, okay?
Well, you did a fantastic job. Hello, Lawrence. Hello, Tamiko. If you know in the culture, you take on play cousins and little brothers and little sisters. Tamiko's my official play cousin, and Lawrence is my little brother. So there you go. I have so much love for the two of you. So thank you for the invitation today. And I am excited to join you all in this conversation. You did a fantastic job on my introduction. And I'm looking forward to talking about those mid-career freezes from a couple of different vantage points. So I can't wait to jump into the discussion. I do work at Georgia Pacific. I've been there for almost 3 years. I've also worked at places you might have heard of, like Coca-Cola, the Home Depot, Cox Automotive, just to name a few of the major companies. I jokingly said I was making my rounds across all of the Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies across Atlanta. But Georgia Pacific is a great company, part of the Koch Industries family of companies. And I'm excited to just now starting a new role with our building products division after working in towel tissue and napkins. So if you've ever bought any Angel Soft tissue, any quilted northern, we say thank you. And now if you've tried to build anything lately, I'm now working in the building products division of our company and excited to learn that division of the business as well. I lead change management for large scale enterprise projects. So the last project I was on, I was hired to lead training and comms for that project, was later promoted to lead change and all of the organizational change management function. That project went live with our last deployment last month or early this month. And now I'm on to a new project, which is just starting up. So I'm at the beginning talking strategy and leadership development and how we get our resources ready for this new multi-year project. So I'm excited to do this work with Georgia Pacific again with our building products group. So excited to jump, y'all.
And as Tamiko said, yeah, y'all, that was the tip of the iceberg. That was just above the waterline, because there's so much breadth and depth to Melissa. And one of the things you just talked about it, and again in your roles, but when you think about just this conversation around how to prevent yourself being stuck with all the dynamics of what's happened over the last several years, how have you managed to make sure you're continuing to move forward, but support others as they desire to?
That's a great question, Lawrence. I will say that my career, if you look at it and look at it from probably, I'll say 25 years ago, about the time I was moving to Atlanta, Georgia, it was every few years I would change jobs. Now, back 25 years ago, that wasn't so popular. When you were changing jobs 25 years ago, it was like, oh my gosh, you're so insane. Why? I had interviews where people would say, well, why were you there only 3 years? And to me, if you fast forward to 2022, Melissa, that sounds like an insane question. No one's asking anybody today, well, why were you there for only 3 years? Nobody's saying that because careers are more mobile now, right? And more transferable. But in the day, it wasn't popular. But the strategy I had for my career was I knew clearly what I wanted to do, and I knew clearly what I did not want to do. When the jobs, I know I love project work. I love doing programs. I like things to have a beginning and an ending. So my joke was, I'm never going to want to be on the widget making team. I appreciate the widget making team. I appreciate the sales teams. I don't want to do those things though. I want to be a part of transformation. So before transformation was a thing, I was doing transformation. So I ended up on a lot of these enterprise-wide system transformation programs at all the companies I named earlier. That's what I was doing at those companies. And when the projects would end, it would be, okay, Melissa, here's this nice rollover in HRIS. You can go and be a part of the team that's going to continue the work. I'm like, am I? I'm not. So I would always have a transition plan for myself that did not include going back into the business and kind of doing the work of the day-to-day of the business, because I just didn't enjoy that. I didn't know that, 25 years ago, that was what was driving me. But after some time and understanding where I got my juice from, I learned that, okay, now that I know this, I'm never, if I can help it, going to go back into the business of just doing the work of the day-to-day operations. I'm not an operations person. I'm more of a transformation person. And while I can morph and be the operations person, I don't want to live there. So I think that's been the litmus test for me has been, is this work that I'm embarking on transformative? Is it going to change the way people work? Is it going to impact the experience of the team members? If it's no, then I'm probably going to be looking for the next thing. And that's what it's looked like. It's just now it's becoming style to move according to what your passions are. Whereas I'm of a certain age where back in the early part of my career, that was not in style. That looked unstable. But now I'm in style. How about that?
Right. Thank you for that, Melissa. Listen, so for people who are watching that are not quite sure if they are stuck, what do they look for? What do they ask themselves to get unstuck?
You know what? A lot of times when I've talked to folks, and I do, coaching, and I do a lot of mentoring, and I'm trying to move away from mentoring to more coaching, if you will, because it's just a different flavor. And where I can in my roles where I've been, also being a sponsor for people, being an ally for folks, it shows up in their conversation in a few different ways. There's a couple I'll give examples for. One is folks start to feel like they're a victim. And I had a conversation with someone at another company years ago, and they were like, well, I feel like I'm stuck, and I feel like they're making me do it. I have to do it. Like, it was this whole victimized story that they were sharing their experience through. And I remember having the conversation saying, you're not a victim, right? You are skilled at what you do. You could put your resume out there tomorrow and be working the next day somewhere else if this experience is not for you. And they had an aha moment of like, I'm like, you know SAP, right? You know the record area, you know the finance area of SAP, you know how rare that is? Like, and it was the moment of me just saying what was obvious and what was true and factual to her, for her to say, oh yeah, I do know, I do know stuff. I'm like, you're not a victim. And it's something years later, she's like, I will never forget you saying I'm not a victim. Because a lot of times that's what stuck looks like. The other thing that stuck looks like is there appears to be movement, but it's not forward movement. So I've had some folks that I've mentored and coached where they have moved from role to role to role, but it might have been from an analyst to another kind of analyst to another kind of analyst to another kind of analyst, another kind of analyst. And now we're 17 years later and they're still an analyst. Wow. And they want to be something else, but they don't have a plan to be anything else. Their motto was, if I work hard, people will reward my hard work. Mm-hmm. And my response to that was, well, how's that going for you? Mm-hmm. They value your analyst skills that you bring to the table, but they haven't invested in you to do more. But it's probably because you haven't said that you want to do more. Which brings me to the third thing is we all own our careers. We all own our own path of development. It's nobody's job but our own to define where we want to go and set a path to get there, and then get allies involved to help you get there. And then some people are just stuck because they are stuck and they can't move and they don't. And my theory has been, if it's school, if it's work, it's two things. If you don't know what you want to major in school, don't go to school. Don't spend money. And school is expensive. Right. Don't spend money to go major in something that you have no idea why you're doing it. And the second thing is, but don't get stuck in a job because you don't know what you want to do next. Because my thing is, if you're not happy with the work you're doing right now, where you're doing it, go do that same work somewhere else till you figure it out. Mm-hmm. If you're miserable, like don't be miserable somewhere, especially right now when there truly is a war on talent. I was talking to a recruiter a few minutes ago who talked about an offer they were making to someone, and it was astronomical, and the signing bonus was amazing because there really is a war on talent. There people are hard pressed to find talent and resources. So I think the stuck thing is we own it. You have to own that piece too, right? Unfortunately, you can't give away ownership of where you are right now.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned all of those things, right? There are layers to this. And then I just want to throw out, I'm seeing multiple messages from people on LinkedIn and YouTube. Sorry for all the tech issues, everyone. But we're live and audio is good over on Tamiko's Facebook page. So you can relocate there right now. And you can see the spelling of her name in her title. All right, so head over to Facebook. But one of the things that, several layers of that, Melissa, was really this idea, I believe in, with the introduction of multi-generations in the workplace, there's this battle of ideas of what once was a thing of put your head down, work hard, people will recognize you and pull you up. But that's in direct competition with, hey, there's this new world of work where people have created bubble people and things have been given to people. And so I'm waiting on instruction. And so how do you coach someone or push them in the direction of, hey, co-creating what a world should look like for yourself?
That is an awesome question. I will tell you, I have created more of the jobs that I've been in than were created for me. And I work for a company who values value, if you will, comparative advantage. We talk about it in our company. And it's kind of like finding my forever home, if you will, because it's the way I've always felt. And I was always put off by any other way. So if you're thinking about, I have this job and I've done this with a full team of folks on my last project. And it looks like this. Hey, I have this job right now. I'm a training coordinator. Great. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? You know what? I feel like I'd like to do this other thing over here. I'm like, okay, well, let's map out what that looks like. Let's map out the responsibilities of that role. And let's see if we can get your toes in the water and get you to start doing some of that work. I call it this, make it a no-brainer. When I show up saying we should do this job, nobody's going to question it because they're going to be like, wait a minute, aren't we already doing that? I'm going to be like, you know what? We are already doing that. Here's the salary I think that goes with that. Now that's me as an ally for that person, but I've also done it for myself. Mm-hmm. In this job, I came in as a training and comms leader for a project. There was a change leader above me, and there was a person who did role mapping, and all I did is raise my hand. Hey, what are they doing over there? You want me to look into that for you? I see you. I know you're busy. I'm happy to take on that if you like. And they were like, oh my God, absolutely. I was adding value. I wasn't going to ask for something they were already killing it on. I saw gaps. So me being a problem solver, I'm like, let me see where the problems are. I'm going to do my job. That's table stakes, by the way. You can't not do your job. But people who want to excel sometimes want to forfeit the work they were actually hired to do to go do this cool, shiny thing on the other side. But you got to do your job and the cool, shiny thing if you want somebody to consider you for the cool, shiny thing. Now, one day, maybe you get to give up your job, right? But you have to start with doing your job. You can't leave holes and gaps behind you and then ask people to respect you in the space that you're in. So creating jobs for myself is what I believe in. Tanya said I was creating jobs in the 1900s. I almost got a pinch until I realized, yeah, that was the 1900s.
Right. Right.
So, my son says that to us all the time. Oh, that's right. You guys were, that was back in the 1900s. And I want to be mad. Then I'm like,
No, that's
whatever,
right.
man. So, yeah. So it's about creating the work that you want to have. And sometimes it doesn't look like a whole new job. But I'll say this is the next level, Lawrence, to that question. Sometimes the market, I feel like it's not today because I feel like there's a million jobs out there waiting to be filled. So I feel like you can really write your own story. But even if you couldn't, let's say you're in a company, you want to stay there because retirement, you've invested so much time, you're 20 years in, you got 5 more years to go, you're not leaving. Makes sense to me. Right. But what do you do in that case? I build around the job I actually have, the other stuff I really want to do. And you could call it doing it for free, but what you're doing is building your brand so that when somebody's looking for somebody that knows how to do stuff, you're not looking for the heads down person who's just been doing their job. Heads down is good. It's not going to get you far, though, honestly. When your head is down, nobody knows your name. You got to lift your head up, stand up from your desk, go have some coffee with somebody. Right. Lift your head up, go have lunch with somebody. Make a drive-by and say, hey, I want to tell you about this thing. Create a question that you need to, if you want to talk to somebody, but you don't know what your end is, find out what they're interested in. What are they talking about? What do they want to know about? And then you go up and show up curious. That's my other secret sauce. Show up with questions. People love talking about themselves.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time for the people in the back.
People love talking about themselves. I have mentees and folks that I coach who will say, well, I don't want to just show up and ask them. I'm like, listen, sweetie, show up and ask them. They're waiting for you to show up. Do they not want to spend 15 minutes talking about themselves? They absolutely do.
Right.
Don't book an hour because ain't nobody got time for that. But you can book 15 minutes. Because everybody's got time for that. And saying that, hey, I respect your career. I would really hear how you got started. Or, hey, I respect your career and I have some ideas about how I can get there. I would love your insights. 0 people have ever said no to that question. 0 people. But you'd be surprised at how many mentees, how many coaches really believe that people are going to say no. And if you're listening right now to my voice, they are not going to say no. They're not. They never have.
Listen, Melissa, you are dropping so many jewels, and I hope that people are actually picking up what you are putting down and taking notes. So you already answered the question that I was gonna ask about how do you go ahead and get an ally at work. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. But I'm gonna go to the chat because people are actually chatting to us, and we appreciate you followers who are there. Miss Karen Hilton, Coach Karen is in the building. Thank you so much. She says, especially now, team leaders at every level are grateful for those who lean in. I love that. Lean in to creating options for them. So that is
you're solving problems that they know they have but may not have time to address. Or they don't know they have it, but when you bring it up, they're like, oh my God, yeah. And that is, I promise you guys, when I got promoted and I had been a VP of learning at Cox Automotive, I had led full organizations, responsible for org design, hiring, firing, all the way through everything in the middle, tough conversations. And this is a little nugget for you. People who say they want to lead people because they like people. I'm like, oh, that's
right.
That's cute. I had a leader who equated it to, if you've ever watched Scandal, the character, was it Hug? The character that did all the killing?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what people leadership looks like. If somebody in the back doing horrible things and then they come out on the stage like, hey there, how are you? You got to come out with your happy face, but you just like wrote up 3 people because they weren't doing their jobs, and that's what you got to do. Nobody wants to write up anybody, but as a leader, you got to be able to do that. So make sure that when you say you want to be a leader, you owe it to folks to help them grow and develop. So that's my little nugget.
I love
Everybody's
that.
like people leader. I like people. I'm like, you don't need a little more than liking people.
Yeah, and one of the things that you said there, particularly as it pertains to just leading others, but in this topic here today, it's leading yourself from
Yes.
someplace and understanding that this is a contact sport. If you thinking you're gonna do this through osmosis or through a proxy, you are kidding yourself. And so this is to Tanya's question of when you get to how do people write their story, and again we talk about the author, Melissa, when you get to writing your story, what's a quick blueprint, right, to get people in the game?
So that is right. Thank you, Tanya. So Tanya is an author herself as well. I Am Enough is her book. I happen to know it because I have it on my shelf. I also have Lawrence's book on my shelf as well. If you guys don't have their books, you should go check them out.
Right.
Let me tell you how you write your story. You got to know what you want to do. Look, I'm gonna give you a real simple because I believe in simplicity. Okay, so this is my little nugget. Think about sitting down talking to your best friend. When you talk about what it is that gives you juice, like what makes me happy? What gives you juice? For me, I know it's developing people. You can put me in whatever job you want to put me in, but what I'm going to do in that job is build people. I would say everybody where I work knows it. I've done it. My whole team got promoted on the old project. Everybody got promoted. Now that's a real that happened. Now they did it themselves. I was a Sherpa, if you will.
Yes.
I was a guide, a coach, but it really is about them each having to decide what is it they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. One person I will tell you guys, Tanya, to your point of how do you write that story? Somebody was trying to write a story for this person. This is a person that I'm talking to now. Somebody's trying to write a story for them, trying to tell them what they should do next because there's more money or there's a more prestige. I talked to this person because I could see her stressing the freak out, okay? She was stressing out. I was like, hey, what do you want to do? What is your juice? What is your favorite thing to do when you get up in the morning? I like coordination. I like supporting people. I was like, so you would be happy if you had another coordinator role, salaried or not. Money can follow you. Money will follow you if you do the work right. Money will follow you. But do you want to do the coordination work? She's like, yes, it's what I'm really good at. I'm like, great. Don't let anybody force you into something else. Because now she's doing this something else. And let me tell you, it ain't what she want to do. She's doing it, but she's not going to be amazing at it because it's not where her juice is. It's not her jam. Her jam is helping people remove roadblocks on these major projects. And when I say she's amazing at it, I would hire her, and I'm trying to right now, by the way. I would hire her in a heartbeat. But my thing is, you have to know what you want to do, because if you let somebody else write your story, you're going to be mad about 3/4 way through when you realize you get into a town you were not trying to go to. And there's nothing like showing up in a town you were trying to be in when you left the station. It's like I was on the wrong plane. I'm in Dubuque. I was trying to be in Chicago. How did I get here? I'm just saying you have to know what it is. And it's okay to not know all of it, guys. Know what you know today. I would say if you're really stuck, there is value in getting a coach. Mm-hmm. And let me just tell you, and I'm not saying that because the two folks on this call, they're coaches and they can help you get unstuck. But there is value in having a coach because you could say the words and they could hear the swirl. Because if you're stuck, you're probably speaking in swirl. I met a person. I was like, what do you want to do? Somebody referred her to me. And they're like, I want to do, she named 7 things. When she finished, I was like, ooh, wee child, you just named 7 things. Well, what's the thing you want to do next? She's like, oh, that's a good question. I know I just named a lot of stuff. And okay, I'm going to come. Okay. And she did say, I'm going to come back. And it was months. And I think I thought her up because I said, I hadn't heard from her. The same afternoon, she texted me. She's like, hey, you asked me several months ago, what did I want to do? And I gave you a whole bunch of things and I was unsure. I feel like I'm more clear now because a coach can't help you if you don't know where you want to go.
Right.
A coach is not a director. I don't gain anything by telling you should go do this next. That's not a coach's job. Mm-hmm. You have to know what you want to do. And the whole part of that coaching process is for you to start thinking about, where do I get my juice? Where's my energy depleted? What am I really good at? What do I really struggle with? Once you start knowing what those things are, then you can start creating the story that you want for yourself. And I think a lot of us have entrepreneurial aspirations. A lot of us may be more of a coaching leader. And if you're like me, I am a coach, but I don't do it as a profession because I choose to not. I choose to not. I choose to give it away because I like the work that I'm doing. So I give it away, but I get to choose who I give it to, right? Because I can't take everybody. I can't bring everyone along. I trust in, the relationships that I have that says, this is somebody I want to pour into. And I will tell you, if you haven't had a coach, do a coach consultation at least to see if it's right for you. Because if you're stuck and you've been stuck all by yourself, it's probably likely you're going to stay stuck all by yourself.
Right.
Same for me. I'm writing a book, guys, and I was showing Tamiko and Lawrence my little pages of my outline here. I used to coach, guys. I write for a living. I can write, but getting organized and structuring a whole book, I knew I hadn't done one yet. So what better sense does it make than to hire somebody that knows how to help writers write? I got a coach to help me do it. We had an outline done in a matter of weeks just because we only met like maybe 3 or 4 times and it was done. And she was like, let's do it. And I did it. And now it's like, okay, Melissa, now you got to write now. I'm my own problem right now. Listen, this is not an intervention. If you want to ask me every now and then on LinkedIn, girl, where your book at?
Right.
I'm not afraid of a little peer pressure.
Because I thought I asked
girl
you
out.
before, where is your book? Yeah. Okay. It's not an intervention. Like
it's over here. It's
coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. So I want to talk. Thank you so much for all the jewels that you are dropping. I'm not even going to put what Kim said up here. Maybe I will. Procrastination queen.
So for those of you listening, that is my sister. Like we got the same mama and stuff. And she's only with this book. I'm not a procrastinator in other areas of my life, but this thing right here is trying to be my kryptonite, but I'm not having it.
We not. Even Superman overcame kryptonite, so we get
right. We gonna keep it moving. But
I'm accepting that.
So, Melissa, you work for Georgia Pacific, and you mentioned before that. I mean, you have. I don't even want to tell them. You tell them how many times have you already been promoted in such a short time within your organization? So
this is my 3rd role. And I will be at the company 3 years in April. So, and the first one was a true promotion. My leader left the company to go work somewhere else. And it wasn't one of those where I've had in the past where I was promoted, but I had to apply for the job. Like I was in there with some heavy hitters too. But I had to apply for the job. I had to interview with all the people. But this job, I did not have to do that. The promotion was truly, my leader was leaving and her boss was like, hey, she's leaving and we're going to promote you into her role because you've earned it and you've been doing a lot of it already. It's a no-brainer. And that's the other word that I'll use with people, the whole make it a no-brainer, make it not a hard conversation. So when I'm showing up, I'm trying to make this as easy for you as possible to say, of course it's Melissa. That's how I try to show up. That's how I try to work, how I try to engage with people so that they're comfortable working with me and they know I get stuff done. And I'm in a leadership role, so it's more about developing folks than anything else. And then the second role was this project was ending. And as my old boss would say, you guys should have a desk outside of Melissa's office trying to recruit her to the next big thing. And I'm on the next big thing, which is the next big enterprise project for Georgia Pacific. So I'm leading change from the beginning this time because I jumped into the other project while I was going. So This is my 3rd role. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I have appreciated about Melissa, and again, we had I had the absolute pleasure to work in the same vicinity and hemisphere as Melissa when we were both at Cox. And I tell you, just the watching mastery in motion and just it being effortless, but just what she talked about earlier from the relationships to navigating spaces with excellence, right? It's not pontificating about what you can offer to the next promotion or the next role. It was really something you said earlier in this conversation around you truly being excellent where you are, and that being the value and currency, and people seeing the impact. And you have been able to navigate spaces where people not only see your impact, but they see your potential, and therefore making things like a promotion a no-brainer into these next roles. And so Tanya had this question of, talking to people, not people who have had this tendency, and again, specifically, she called out, Black women in general, marginalized communities, people who they have a tendency to wait to be given permission to ask for that next opportunity. How have you been able to lean into that next?
So I will tell you, it has not always ended beautifully, right? Because I've always been this girl. I didn't just show up as her today. I've been her. I finally grew into her, but I probably was not people's favorite person back when I was in my 20s acting like this, because who is she and how dare she? But I will tell you an example of, so first of all, it's a people of color issue. I'm going to just tell you, if there's some white men on the line, I love you guys so much. But here's the thing. They ain't showing up asking for nobody's permission. They showing up partially qualified and applying for it like they have done all the jobs all the times and know all the things.
Right.
Black women show up like, I have 90% of this, I'm missing 10%. So I'm really not qualified. So job descriptions are written in a vacuum, right? And I'm fortunate to work for a company that hires for talent, for virtue, not for talent. Virtue is how you show up. Talent, we can teach you talent. That's the real answer. Every job is going to teach you how to do that job. Unless you're a doctor, I'm not going to teach you how to cut out a heart. But most corporate jobs, they're going to teach you the job when you get there, if you got something. But Black women will talk ourselves out of taking the leap. Now, I've never talked myself out of any of it because, I'm just saying I was not popular, but it's popular now. I wasn't always popular.
Right.
I looked unstable, but whatever. Look at me now. I think you have to take chances on yourself. I will always say, people will always ask me, you should be in sales, like you're I'm like, I can only sell this product. I know this product really well, and I know what this product is going to do when it shows up. I don't want to go sell anything from a company sales perspective, but I can sell me because I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'm going to show up. I know the outcomes I'm going to have. But I think you have to have confidence in yourself. And if you feel like you don't have that confidence, what did I say earlier? Get a coach. Get somebody to help you. And I would say, think about the person that you most admire in a corporate setting or whatever setting you're in, if it's academic education. Think about the person that you most admire, that if you look at their career, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I want to see my career do what that career is doing. And then go talk to them. And be honest and transparent about, hey, here's where I'm at right now. I see where you're at and I admire that. Tell me, what tips would you give me? What advice would you give me? People are happy to share that. I think because you may have something that you haven't uncovered about why you're stuck. And the real answer is shoot for it. What's the worst can happen? You don't get it.
Right.
We're finished.
Exactly.
Not gonna get fired because you said you had aspirations. Nobody's doing that. And if they are, good riddance, you should leave them anyway. If somebody's gonna fire you because you said, I want to progress in my career. So I would say, have confidence and I would say some of the things you can do. Let me give you a couple of tactical things you can do. Write down for yourself what you're really good at, and then flip the coin over what you're really not good at. And you know you're not good at it. You know you don't want to do it. So you can rule out things that are coming your way that may not be a good fit. And then what gets you up in the morning? Because you could be really good at something. So I'm really good at doing resumes. I don't like it though. So I only do it for the ones I love. Because I don't like it. It's a lot of work, and did I mention that I don't like it? But I'm really good at it. So I'm not going to go out there and say, I'm going to create a resume business. No, I'm not. I don't like it. But find out what you are good at and what you love to do. So don't mix those two things up when you're doing this list. What are you good at? what do you really love doing? What do you know for sure you don't want to do? And then look out into the universe to see what's out there that lines up with those things that you might possibly be interested in doing. And y'all, Google makes you great. Been saying that forever.
Right.
I mean, I think I got an MBA off of Google. I'm not sure. I might have. But look out there and see what jobs are out there that might align to what you want to do. And then figure out how you can get in that space if you're not even in the space. Because I'm telling you right now, with the war on talent, there are options, y'all. You don't have to be stuck. If there's ever a time to get unstuck, now is that time. 2022 is when you should jump on it.
Get unstuck. Listen, Melissa is dropping some great jewels. And I have one more thing that I know people are considering. So here you are, you're showing up, you're about to get that big promotion, right? Because they see that value. How do you ask for the money or negotiate?
That is a great question. Another thing that we
tend to lowball ourselves.
Yeah.
And play it safe. So
yeah, especially women.
Right.
My joke is I would do this work for free if everybody was doing this work for free. But since you're paying people, I'm going to need to get as much as I possibly can. I think you have to do your research. Again, information is available online. If you go on LinkedIn right now today and you look for a job, LinkedIn's gonna give you their version of what they think the range is for that job. If you look at enough of them, you'll get a real range. If you look at enough of them. Right. And don't worry about what you make. My father gave me this advice when looking for a job. It's one of the best things he's ever told me. The first person that talks about the money, that gives a number, is the loser. And I will say that I don't ever, like, when people ask, well, how much are you making now? It doesn't matter how much I'm making now. How much does your job pay?
Right.
Because the only time it matters how much I'm making now is when I'm going internally from one job to another. And that's when they try to make it matter. Right. But how much am I making now is inconsequential. But when they do ask you and they do want a number, here's the things you need to include in the how much I'm making now answer. It is not just your salary. It is the benefits package. It is any other incentives that you have. And that's why you need to just give a number that's outrageous so that it includes, and say, well, my total compensation package is $500K a year. Mm-hmm. So now how much is your job paying? Like, stop asking me how much I'm making now, because I'm not going to give you that answer. I'm not going to ever give you that number, because you're either going to lowball yourself or get yourself out of the range. Mm-hmm. Get them to tell you. And most jobs do have ranges. I will say I work for a company that doesn't have ranges. We really don't have it, which made me happy, because I was like, I went from being a VP, as I told y'all. Here's a real story. Went from being a VP, took a package. I was like, oh, now, black girl with package, watch out now. But now, get this salary. So when I went to this role, I met my boss, and it was like, well, how much do you want to make? I'm like, well, I was a VP. And that's all I had to say.
Right.
Yeah, we probably had to change this job to accommodate you, but we're really interested in you. I'm like, okay. And y'all, they gave me the same money I was making as a VP, but I had a manager title. Might have been a senior manager. I don't even know if I was a senior manager, but I didn't care. Call me Melissa.
Right. But give me that money.
But my account over at the Chase, can you make sure that hits?
Right.
So, my thing was not about titles, because I didn't care about titles. I only care about titles when they hook the money to the titles. Mm-hmm. But if you're telling me the money's not connected to the titles, call me Melissa, and this is how much money I need. And they gave it to me.
Right.
And y'all don't know how I was like, what now? Because I gave an outrageous number. They were like, what you want to be paid? I'm like, well, what can you do? This is what we needed to do. And they did it. And then I've been promoted twice, guys. Before the first promotion, I got another pay increase. Mm-hmm. Just because I was killing it. I wasn't showing up asking for money. I knew, but I know my brand. Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this job and I'm going to kill it. And then one day they were like, you know what? We're going to give you a bonus, but we're going to give you an actual pay increase so it stays with you forever. I'm like, hook a sister up. So they did that. Mm. But I would say, know what the value is of the work you're wanting to do. And y'all, sometimes you do have to leave. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, most companies, and I'm going to be honest here, most companies aren't going to give you the big bump that you're looking for internally, which is why people leave. Mm-hmm. And if you're okay with that, then stay. If you're not, 2022 is the year to do it. I'm telling you. If you want to leave, this is when you should do that.
Yeah. And as we think about just rounding this off, Melissa, I just want to know for everybody, because again, we can talk all day and we know your journey. And what was that moment, that catalyst moment that propelled what we see before us today?
Yeah, I would say it was probably while at Cox Automotive. I was fortunate enough to have access to an executive coach when I was promoted from a senior manager to a senior director, then to a VP, all within 17 months, maybe. It was an insane time, but as a senior manager, how I moved about was very different from how I needed to move about as a VP. And you can imagine the rooms I was in was different. My contributions in those rooms were different. I was responsible for a team. I went from like being responsible from about 20 people to about 45, 50 people. Organizing my organization with all those folks in mind. And I was in rooms where people were literally saying to me, "Oh, why are you here?" It's the funniest question ever from the clear people. "Why are you in this room? Who sent you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm here because I know stuff." And that was my real answer, y'all. I was like, "Well, I'm here because I know stuff." Because I was like, the audacity. So since we're being stupid, let's all be stupid together. I'm here because I know stuff. And once they came to respect what I knew, but I will tell you, I did come into rooms where people were like, "Who's she? Why is she here?" Literally. The coach helped me, and I will tell you, I was very strategic about the selection of the coach because I needed somebody that knew our organization very well and that could be candid and transparent, because I'm a very A-type personality, and I needed somebody just to not sugarcoat it, just say the words so we can get on to the solutions. And he did that in his genteel way, but he was very much direct. He gave me some advice, and here's Lawrence, how the old Melissa became this Melissa. And there's a marked difference. I will say that. The old Melissa was the same smart person I feel like I am today, but I didn't have a lot of grace for people to get to where my brain was already. Not to say and I wasn't the smartest person in the room by any stretch, but it was that feeling of once I knew the answer, I needed to say that I knew the answer. And that's annoying to people. Imagine that. It's a put off. And while people would take advantage of the smart, they didn't really want to propel you and have you be in the room any longer than you had to be. That's a difference. So it became less about answering all the questions and solving all the problems and coming in first. It became more about being in the room, being curious. It's a section of the book that I'm writing. It's called, Did I Call Your Baby Ugly? Something to that. You're thinking about showing up in a room, you're looking at what's been done, and you're saying, "Oh my God, this is a mess." You're probably talking to the people who created said mess. Mm-hmm. If you're in a room telling somebody their baby is ugly, they're probably not going to want to work with you.
Right.
So it's really having emotional intelligence and understanding, and you learn these things by questions and curiosity. So rather than showing up in the room with all the solutions to all the questions, it's show up in the room with questions, not answers. Show up in the room with, "Tell me how we came here. Oh, I see that we have a structure. Tell me how that structure came to be. Okay, who was involved in this, creating this new thing?" Then you start to get intel. Because now you learn the person you're about to go say, "We're going to change this because this is stupid." They're the person that created that thing. So now you shouldn't say this is stupid, because you need to work with these folks. And it's about curiosity and emotional intelligence, tempering and tamping down some of that A personality. Because everybody, you can't show up in a room like that. You can't show up with, "I know everything." It's kind of, you do the DISC assessments, it's that D. The D's get things done, but they leave a trail of blood behind them, broken bones and bodies in their wake. Mm-hmm. They'll always be called on to get projects done, but they won't be called to lead because people don't like working with them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to temper that with some emotional intelligence, with some curiosity, as opposed to just showing up with all the answers all the time. You know, you might know the answer, just don't give it out the gate. Give it on the backside.
That's
I love it. Go ahead,
I love
Tamiko.
it. No, I was just going to say that a lot of people don't realize that that's the main part of change management. Like you cannot come in there and say, okay, I'm going to change this, that. You have to find out how is the organization running, what's happening, what's been working, and be curious. Ask those questions because you're going to get a lot of pushback if you just come in saying, I'm changing this isn't working, yada, 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 yada. Nope. You will not get any buy-in. So that's awesome.
It's hearts and minds. If I talk about that, I probably say that at least 3 times a week at work right now. It's hearts and minds. The minds part is easy. It's going to be some training. I'm going to show you how to do something different. The heart part is a little more complex. Where are they right now? Are they with you on this journey? Do they want to be on this journey? Do they not want to be on this journey? Do you know? Like it's having those conversations. So it's about building relationships with people and helping them know that you understand where they're coming from and where you're trying to go. So you got to get both of those messages out. I understand where you are. I also understand the target. Can you help us get to that target? Do you believe in that target? Is that something you could do with us? Exactly. What are your ideas for us getting to that target? Because you'll find out, no matter how smart I think I am, when I'm working with smart people in the room, man, you just exponentially increase your value when you collaborate.
Right.
Yeah. It's all about that influence. And again, like you said, most people know that the baby is ugly. That's why they buy cute clothes. I just had to throw that one out there and make you laugh before we get up off here. But Melissa, I know on Tamiko and I's behalf, I got excited about today's conversation with you because I knew you was gonna come with some fire. I didn't know we was gonna need a virtual extinguisher to put you out. But thank you so much for the gift of your time and the talent. And so Tamiko, take us home.
Listen, Melissa, first off, is there any one thing that you want to that you did not say that you actually want to say and leave the people before we go?
I would say one thing: know your superpower and don't back down from it. Know what you bring that nobody else is going to bring to the table, and don't back down from it. Don't apologize for it. Show up with it unapologetically. Know your superpower.
Know your superpower. Now, Melissa, I know people are probably going to be searching for you. How do people get in touch with you? You know they're going to ask you about the book. I'm not going to
ask me about the book. I am on LinkedIn.
You probably have to do some pre-sales because I think everybody liked the ugly baby part. Okay,
it's in there. It's got a whole section. Did I call your baby ugly? My bad. I would say connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm there. I am. LinkedIn.com/n/learn-lead-link. That is my name there, Melissa Collier. I'm on Facebook. I have not updated my book page on Facebook, but I will be. And when I do, I will post it on LinkedIn because I need to. I got a million books in my head, but I got one I'm writing right now. So I just got to get this one done. And I will say, look for it this summer. I will make that commitment because I'm excited about getting it out there and talking to folks more about leading like a boss. So that's my book. My working title right now is Lead Like a Boss: How to Get the Job You Want and the Money You Deserve.
Listen, boss lady.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for being here. Thank you all so much for watching and interacting with us. We will actually be back in 2 weeks. Okay, for real this time. In 2 weeks, on March the 14th, we have a new executive that will be in the building. But until next time, thank you all so much. And you have been watching Can We Talk? Executive Conversations. Until next time. Goodbye.
Be well, everybody.
Bye, y'all.